Hey there, America. It's David here with Strike for Democracy. Just want to tell you a little bit about our project. Um, let's make it as simple as possible. Back in 2020, President Trump did not leave office peacefully. And some of you are worried, including me, that maybe in, 2020, 29, he might not leave office peacefully again. We don't know what might happen. It's really hard to say. If there's anything we've learned, he's pretty unpredictable. So I want to talk to you about building what we call the final guardrail. If all the other guardrails fail, if the courts don't prevent the worst from happening, if Congress doesn't prevent the worst from happening, if we find ourselves in a position where we realize we're not going to have free and fair elections and that we're essentially the same as Russia or China, where we've got a permanent self-appointed leader and no democratic process to do anything different. So in that case, the final guardrail, well, that's us. You'll probably see in other places, you've probably already seen maybe the article from the New Yorker with the lawyer from the ACLU, and you might hear the term general strike. Well, that's what we're talking about. A general strike is basically where you don't necessarily go out and protest and hold up a sign on a street corner saying, get them out. But you don't go to work. You don't go fly the planes. You don't go drive the buses. You don't open the restaurant. You don't serve the food. You shut down the country. If it comes to that, if we get to the point where we think we no longer have a functioning democracy, that's probably what it's going to take. So, something else you're going to hear more than once is the 3.5% figure. In history, and there's more about this on the Strike for Democracy website at sfd25.org or strikefordemocracy.org, but historically speaking, whenever we've gotten 3.5% of people in a country to, shut things down and protest peacefully. Let's be clear about that. Protest peacefully. Well, that's enough to basically always bring about change. Now, of course, I don't think President Trump himself will ever care if 3.5% or 10% or 30% of the nation goes on strike. But importantly, your congressmen will start caring. Our tech giants, our current family of oligarchs, they need us spending money. They need us doing things. They need a functioning economy. So they're going to be the ones who care and who are like, enough. 3.5% of America is protesting or going on strike. This general strike is shutting down our country, crashing the economy. We're not going to let this go on. And there will be people who will then remove Trump from office by whatever means necessary. So, how do we do that? First, we have to organize. Our first thought on the organizing was, let's get everybody on Telegram. You might not have heard of Telegram, but it is a pretty popular social media app internationally. A lot of Ukrainians on Telegram, a lot of Russians on Telegram, a lot of South Americans on Telegram. The reason we like Telegram is we think it's probably going to be pretty hard to shut down. And they also have this great anonymous polling feature that will scale up to 14 million people at some point. So that's where I would love to see you. I'd love to see you on Telegram. I'd love to see you in our Telegram channel on the website. You'll have to go to sfd25.org. It's listed there. So I'd love to see you in Telegram, and we do a weekly poll on Friday where we just say, hey, are you a U.S. resident willing to go on strike with 14 million fellow Americans to preserve our democracy? And you can check yes when the time comes when we all recognize that our democracy is dead. You can check that yes box, or you can say yes, the time is now. When you've decided that it's enough, you can check yes, the time is now. But one way or another, it's going to take a bunch of us. It's going to take about 3.5%. I'm saying 12 to 14 million. But at that point, when all else is lost, when all the other guardrails have failed and the final guardrail is us, well, I hope you're going to be there with us to say it's time to stop the country and get this guy out of office. So, all right, I think that's everything I really need to say. Thanks for listening. Peace out, y'all.